Shut up and sit down.
Good evening, happy Friday evening, everybody. This is the one and only Prick, back for another show. You know, one of the beauties of, probably one of the few beauties of doing the show by myself is I can decide if I don't feel like doing a show on a regularly scheduled Wednesday evening or whatever and delay until Friday. It's kind of a bummer because I like getting that sooner, but since we didn't have Saturday games, I didn't feel quite as pressured to get it out before Saturday like I had been the last couple of weeks. So here we are. I was lazy, had other things going on, and I'm doing a Friday night show. So let's get right into it, everybody. Yeah, we got another beer. So let's see if we can get this to see. So I'm not doing a virtual background. As you see, I've been here before. Back to Zoom because I hated Teams. And I got a Lagunitas passion grass. Let's see, West by Midwest. How about that? A short brew. I'm not sure if I had this before. I think I did because I think I had more than one, but maybe not. So here goes. Let's see if I can pour halfway decent tonight. I've had a little practice so far this evening, so I think I got it. Look at that. So far, so good. Well, the guy likes a lot of head, not on his beer. So anyway, in general, I've had other Lagunitas. I typically like them. I have high expectations for this one, other than splashing stuff on my mouse pad. Otherwise, I did so good. Oh, and I freaked it out. I got to fix that real quick, everybody. This mouse pad's mad because I got liquid on it. All right. So anyway, where are we? Let's get back to the meeting. Let's give that beer a taste. So far, not bad. I'm trying to place the taste and flavor before I try it. It's 4.6% alcohol. Oh, it says ale brewed with lemongrass and passion fruit. That explains the passion grass name. You can taste the passion fruit. Not bad. I guess maybe the lemongrass. I'm having a hard time placing it, but maybe because it's got a little bit of a weird flavor. Not necessarily bad, just different, along with the passion fruit. So that must be the lemongrass. That's not a bad beer. It's not my favorite. Not something I'd run right out and try to buy more, but I wouldn't turn one down for sure. It's easy. It's just got a bit of a sourness up front. Again, has to be that lemongrass, then followed by the passion fruit. And that I like it after it gets past that initial taste. So we're going to give this guy a 7.3. We're going to get right back into the show. Could be a pretty quick show. We're getting less things to talk about because there's less games going on. And I see boo-boo with my look weird there, but it looks fine. Oh, I see what really strange. My presentation has some graphical effects that I missed being really jacked up earlier. That I want to fix real quick before I get showing that part. I think that's all better now. That is really strange how that happened. Anyway, let's get right into that presentation now that I got that fixed. So we have, and I'm thinking I might even just try to do this without doing a full presentation, so maybe you get to see stuff, not get it hidden by the Zoom fun. But remember last week we picked the divisional games, the 4 divisional games, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And I even showed you a video of Cynthia Froyland's picks, using AI or whatever, mathematical models. So I'm bummed. The week went really good, and I actually meant to check something out. Well, maybe I'll just do it with everybody on the show because I want to take a look at the last game, and we'll get to that in a minute. But so it started out great. The first 3 games, we got Rams versus Packers. Packers destroyed the Rams. I thought everybody would pick that game. Then we had Bills and Ravens, and that was a really high-scoring affair. I think it was 3-6 at half. Might have been 3-3, 3-3, 3-6 at half. And it really wasn't going very far in the. It was a field goal missing game because there was pretty serious swirling wind. And so that was part of the problem. Nobody could get in the end zone. The defenses were doing their jobs. The offenses weren't. In the second half, Bill scored, and then the Ravens were driving, and then we're getting shut down towards the end. A couple bad plays, including a bad snap in which Lamar Jackson ran back, picked up, tried to throw the pass before he got sacked, and he was really, really close to the end zone. But threw it and threw his body back as he threw it, went down hard, slammed his head against the turf, and he went out with a concussion. And then the Bills basically put it away at that point. Nothing else happened. They got the ball shortly after that, and the game was theirs. But it was pretty tight until that point, to be quite honest. And then we had the Browns versus the Chiefs, our very next game. So our second AFC game in a row, and it's kind of weird this division round. Both AFC teams, one of the quarterbacks goes down in the game. Chiefs were it was close. The Chiefs were dominating the game the entire time. Till Mahomes goes down with his own concussion, or at least a concussion protocol event. They say maybe he didn't get a concussion and he simply tweaked a nerve in his neck, but he got pulled down basically by the neck. It was a legit tackle. While, he did pull him down by his neck, it wasn't a foul. It might not have been intentional, but Mahomes kind of slammed the front of his head down, and he tried to get up, and it just didn't go well. And I'm sure most of you watching this probably heard some of the news on this because it was kind of a big deal. And as of Friday, they've cleared Mahomes to play in the divisional game coming up this Sunday against the Bills. But after that, the Chiefs did score a field goal, which gave us a little room. But then the next drive, the Browns score. Chiefs got the ball. I believe they scored. Yeah, they did. They scored. Might have been 3 points, might have been 7, can't really remember. The Chiefs are playing, and they maybe I got this out of where I should look. But anyway, at some point, our backup quarterback throws what they call an arm punt. He throws the ball so far over our receiver's head into the end zone and basically into the waiting arms of the defender. And he's just standing there waiting for the ball to come to him because nobody else is close to this thing. It was a terrible play. We were in field goal possession. Actually, I think it was after we scored that. It was. Mahomes got hurt. We got a field goal. The next time we got the ball, we do this arm punt. And they got the ball. And now it's Browns 17, Chiefs 22. Browns got a chance to drive and score and win the game. Our defense holds. Thank God. Because I was very, very upset. I'm like, we were in field goal range. We could have got up by 8, right? So if you look at this, it's a 5-point game, final score. We could have got a field goal. Instead, we threw an arm punt. And it's not that it was a gimme field goal, but we were in range. And Butker definitely does a good job kicking long kicks, not a good job kicking 33-yarders, as they said in the game. So anyway, luckily our defense holds. We get the ball back after the Browns punt, which I was surprised, to be honest. They were punting with so little time left in the game. But, their defense had been playing pretty good. We didn't have Mahomes. We drive. We make a couple amazing plays. It's like 3rd and long. You got to give it to Henny. He ran a really nice run. Just came up short on a 3rd and long, and it was 4th and 1. And I'm thinking, it was like a minute and 20-some seconds or something like that left. Like, just punt the ball. And so Chiefs line up, and they're making it look like they're going to try to draw them off sides. Even the announcers are like, yeah, look at their body language. They're just trying to get them to jump. They're not going to snap the ball. And with 5 seconds left, the Chiefs snapped the ball. It was a great sell job, I would say. I would have let it go a little further, but it was really a great sell job. Like, we weren't going to hike it. Maybe in the beginning we should have tried harder to act like we were trying to get them to come off sides. But still, 5 seconds left, we hike it. And he immediately turns right, throws the ball, quick pass to Tyreek out in the flat, kind of like a wide receiver screen almost, if you call it that. Tyreek runs a couple yards. We got a first down, and we are able to kill the clock with the victory formation to win that game. But it was a nail biter at that point with Mahomes down. And even after we win, we're all thinking, Chiefs Nation, we're thinking, are we going to have Mahomes? Because I don't like the looks of our chances against the Bills without Mahomes. I didn't like the looks of our chances against the Browns, and I'm glad we pulled it out, but it could have went the other way. And as this game was going on, I'm thinking, man, I picked the Chiefs, and this was supposed to be as you remember from the video about the percentages, this was the most lock of any game based on the percentage. But of course, that wasn't factoring in Mahomes going down. So there we are. So we pulled it out. Woo! So then our next game, we got the Bucks versus Saints, and I'm going to pull this one up just because I think it's kind of interesting. But you see the score, and I gave this game to Joe and Evan because they've been with the Bucks all year, and I've been with Saints, and I said that when I picked this game. So it's 20-30 at the end, and I think that score is not a lot unrepresentative of the actual game. Not that I'm trying to defend my pick. The Bucks did outplay them in the end. The Bucks won the game. It's very clear they won the game. What I didn't like about it is after it was over, it was the storyline of Breeze and Brady and the quarterbacks. But and Breeze wasn't 100%. He's been injured. I really had a hard time with that being it. I mean, I watched the game, and personally, I went. There was another player on the Saints team that I thought had a lot of impact, and I didn't look at this ahead of time. I'm kind of going to go look at it right now with you. I just stopped sharing for a second while I pulled it up to save some trouble, looking at some stuff you didn't need to see, but I'm going to share this now. I really felt like there was another player that had a lot to do with this game turnaround. So as we kind of look at the summary of this game, right? New Orleans gets up first, field goal. Then the Saints come back the Tampa comes back to get it closer, 3-6. Second drive, there's an interception. I guess we'll blame that on Breeze. He threw it to Michael Thomas, and it was an interception. So they gave one, and then Tampa comes back and scores. Right? Then New Orleans comes back and scores. They're back in it. And Kamara had a really nice game. No doubt about it. I'm kind of curious about the stats. We're going to Tampa punts, New Orleans punts. We're going into halftime. Tampa ties it up 13-13. So it's, we're coming out of half like it's a tie game, to be quite honest. Or it's the beginning of the game because it's 0-0 is effectively, even though it's 13-13 coming out of the half. New Orleans scores 13-20, right? 13-20. And this is where I think it's interesting. Breeze throws a touchdown. So he's doing all right. He's thrown a touchdown. Is it really Breeze versus Brady? And Breeze had such a bad game. Tampa punts. And then New Orleans fumbles. And here's what I want to show you because I think we're going to see two things in a row. Make this interesting. So they're up. They have the ball. They got a chance to kind of get themselves comfortable, and they fumble the ball. So Breeze passes to Jared Cook. He runs for 8 yards and fumbles it. Jared Cook, a big tight end, fumbles it. Okay, on 3rd and 2nd of the New Orleans 45. So if you give him 8 yards, he's in Tampa's side of the field when he fumbles the ball. Tampa takes the ball, scores. Now it's a tied game. New Orleans punts. Tampa kicks a field goal. Tampa's up now. Now there's another interception in the 4th quarter. I think this is the one. I think you'll find this interesting. No, I'm wrong on this one. This was on Breeze. He threw it to Kamara. Gets intercepted. Not a good sign. This was not the shining moment. Tampa comes back and scores. There goes New Orleans again. Not much time left. I got to look just to make sure this isn't the same. And he throws another pick. Yes, look at the name again, who this pick was. And if you saw this play, I remember this play, and I'm thinking Jared did not have a great day. Jared Cook. This ball literally was not a bad pass. It went right through Jared Cook's hands. I mean, he's like this. It goes right through it, hits him off the helmet, doink, up in the air, and the defense picks the ball off. Now, at this point, did that change the game? I mean, it's a 10-point game. 40 seconds left at the 40 seconds worth of time taken off. Sorry, there was a lot of time left in the game. Let's see. 4:25 when that happened. So there's 4 minutes left. So just, let's go with if they could have scored. This was at the Tampa 47, right? So they're on their side of the field again. They could have scored even 3 points. Now it's a 7-point game. You can either try to onside or you can do something else. I put more of this on Jared Cook, to be honest. That fumble turned the game around from being up 7 and with a chance to score more. It basically turned the game into a tie ball game. Now let's just see from a stat perspective the Brady versus Breeze. So Brady had 199 yards with 2 TDs, no interceptions, so not a bad game. 18 complete passes out of 33. Breeze had 19 to 34, so he completed one more pass and threw one more pass. Only 134 yards. He definitely didn't have a lot of yards. He didn't have as many TDs. He had way more interceptions. This was a trick play. This Jameis Winston, 1-for-1, 56-yarder for a touchdown. So Breeze didn't outplay Brady. That's clear. Now that I see that, it was kind of interesting. I definitely will give one of those picks to somebody else. I don't remember the Camaro one, so I can't give it. My point is, I think it was not so much all on Breeze as it was the entire team. But again, Tampa did a good job of winning, and Brady was solid. I mean, no picks. Again, that team, if you look at this, didn't come alive till the third quarter when that fumble happened, and that's football. That's the way it goes, right? That's how the ball bounces and changes this. The momentum and flow of a game and the outcome of a game a lot of times is a play like this, especially if you're a team not winning. And that was even almost what happened to the Chiefs, right? They were in control. Mahomes goes down, and it almost turned against them. Luckily, the defense really came alive at the last moment. But that pick from Henne could have turned into a lost game if the defense wouldn't have held after that. So, a short show. I didn't have a lot more to say. Oh, I got to jump back to my presentation now. I do have more. But I just wanted to talk about that game real quick, and then I wanted to finish off the presentation because we have some brackets to look at. Okay, so, and we got some more picks. So with those games in mind, here's the results. Again, some hypothetical. So I went 3-1 this week. I thought it would go perfect till the Saints game. Had the turnaround there with that fumble. And then those interceptions. So I went up 3 and lost 1. Joe and Evan, I gave perfect 4-0s, hypothetically. And so Joe gained the game on me. And Evan gained the game on me, but you can see it. And this is where it's more obvious. Last week, not quite so much. Or when I talked about this 2 weeks ago, I said mathematically it's not possible. And if you really look at it now, right, I'm up hypothetically 5 games on Joe. There's only 3 games left, 2 this week and 1 game there. There's no way. I could pick them all wrong. No way Joe can catch me. Even last week, I could have picked 1 out of 3 right. And if he would have picked differently than me, right, I don't think me going 0-4 was realistic and him picking all the games opposite. I would have to pick 3 differently last week than him and miss, and all 3 coming up. And that's just not realistic for him to even catch me because it would have been 6 games last week. He gained 1 this week. So here we are. I don't know, not pick or whatever. But I do want to see. I want to go 80 and 33. That's where I'm headed for. I want to go perfect the rest of the time. We'll see what happens. And these other guys. So here's our 2 games for this week. So I'm sticking with Joe and Evan, sticking with the Bucks because they've been picking the Bucks the whole time. It is against Packers. I don't know. They might, really not believe it. And if you didn't, I'm going to ask them to go ahead and post out on our YouTube page if they feel differently. They are out there. I didn't share it. Enough people, I think, saw it, but they did post Evan drinking that lemonade stand last week right after I did the show and posted it. They posted a quick 1.5 minute of Evan drinking that lemonade stand and giving it a better rating than Joe, but not a great rating. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. Anyway, I'm giving them the Bucks. I'm sticking with the Packers. The Packers have been really strong. A lot of folks think they're the team to beat. Those are ratings right now on NFL.com. Chiefs are the most highest power ranking, and Packers are number 2. Now we got the Bills and the Chiefs. Evan's been with the Chiefs all season long, but I think he's going to go with the Bills. The Bills have been strong, and Evan likes AFC East for some reason. That's where the Pats are. So maybe Ev's going to go differently just to see if he can't get a game back towards the end of the season. And it's not a terrible pick. I think the Chiefs have it as long as Mahomes stays healthy. I think the Chiefs got this one, but a lot of people are feeling the Bills. The Bills have been very strong. Again, they beat the Ravens, but I don't think they played it as well as I thought they would have. From a score perspective, the Ravens defense was a lot stronger, and I thought they were going to be against the Bills. I thought it was going to be higher scoring overall, but that win did affect it, even the passes, not just the kicks. But anyway, Joe and I have been homers with the Chiefs, and I honestly believe the Chiefs will win. I think Joe and I both would think the Bills are going to have a heck of a game. It's going to be tight, but the Chiefs beat them earlier. I think the Chiefs can beat them again. I wish Clyde Edwards-Helaire was playing. I believe he's still out. I'd have to look, but at least Mahomes is back. If Mahomes was out, honestly, I'd have gave it to the Bills. That's how good I think the Bills are and how much Mahomes matters to the Chiefs. But I think the Chiefs can do it. So I'm going with both favorites, of course. We didn't get the same thing as we got last week. We got a number 5 seed, and we got a number 2. So the 1 and 2s did not survive. I think New Orleans was a 2 team. Let's go take a look. Yeah, the Saints would have had to win, and we had 1-2-1-2. Maybe that was the other thing I was thinking about. Who knows? Okay, so let's take a look at how the Sports Illustrated folks are doing. So Albert Breer was a guy I was sticking with. He's pretty solid. Other than he stuck with the Saints. So my bracket's going to look somewhat similar to this. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. Oh, bless me. No, his bracket's pretty clean otherwise. He really had it pretty solid. You'll notice when we flip to ours, I kind of changed ours to go more with what we picked in the beginning of the season. After thinking about it last week, instead of grabbing one of these guys and making it kind of match, I went back to making the bracket look more like what we would have picked, and then it's going to affect our picks a little bit more. This Andrew Brandt, he lost the Saints this week. Otherwise, he had to Tennessee, so he's not doing great. Connor Orr had the Ravens beating the Chiefs, which wasn't possible because the Ravens played the Bills, but still, regardless of that, the Ravens aren't in that round. He was either losing the Ravens or the Bills this week, and that's all his major change. He had Tampa, so losing last week basically, but he thought they were playing Green Bay. And anyway, we got Gary Gramling. I think he's got he's got the Saints too. That's the only thing that changed for him. So a lot of guys are losing one of their finalists. This is interesting. This guy's got the Bills, by the way. Connor Orr has the Bills. So I'm kind of curious about how that one's going to shake out. I hope he's not right because that's very much a realistic ending. Bills versus Green Bay. Let's see. We got Jenny. She's doing pretty good. She had New Orleans, but she still got Green Bay and Kansas City alive for the Super Bowl. Another Kansas City, Green Bay. And look at Mitch Goldich. I was really shocked. Other than so far he had Pittsburgh, and of course, because the Ravens were playing the Bills, he still had Bills moving forward. Obviously, Cleveland was part of this that doesn't represent his, but he's only got one position wrong here in the championship round. He's got Tampa, he's got Green Bay, he's got Kansas City, he's got the Bills. So those are the people playing, and so his is very much alive. So that's the best pick right now is Mitch. Well, let's go take a look at how the pricks are doing. So you'll see I kind of edited. I actually rearranged to put kind of the loser and get the bracket straight because we didn't pick, if you remember, the first 2 rounds preseason. We picked people who were going to be in the first round, but not all of them, and we didn't pick it. So I originally was using the games based on how I picked those games to win, but I've adjusted it to pick how we had it, our championship and Super Bowl. So my championship game was Kansas City versus the Ravens. So the only way for that to happen with the Ravens would have had to beat the Bills. Right? And so I fixed it to just show that Cleveland was playing Kansas City, and that part worked out. Ravens were playing the Bills. Ravens worked. Even though last week I picked the Bills. So I picked against myself because this was prior to the season starting, but this is realistic on what I said was going to happen. I wanted my bracket to match that. So not as nice, but I still am on the AFC side, good to go. I had to clean this one. I said Seattle was going to play the Saints, and then the Saints were going to win. So to make that happen, I had to basically make Seattle win all the way up to that point, which didn't happen. LA did, and that's who I picked in that last round. So I kind of picked it against myself, right? I picked Green Bay, picked against myself, but it wouldn't have mattered because Seattle lost the time before. And of course, I lost the Saints. Tampa's playing, right? So this is a pretty accurate what's going on in the exit show where I missed it. So my NFC side is basically a bust. Been for a little while now. But my AFC game, I got 1 game out of 2. So Joe's not too much different. He had Indy going all the way to play Kansas City and then Kansas City winning. And of course, we know that Bills are went all the way instead of Indy. He had Seattle going all the way to play the Chiefs, and we know they busted. But he did have Tampa winning up to this round. So, he really doesn't have a saving grace at this point. Either do I. But he had one of the teams in this round that I didn't. So if you wanted to say it, he had 2 out of 4 in this round, correct. I had 1. We got Evan. So Evan had to kind of clean up as well. Evan had basically said the Ravens were going to play Buffalo, which the only way that would have happened is if the Ravens would have played Kansas City, which couldn't happen because Cleveland won. So I just adjusted for, who really was playing. Again, same thing. He lost a Super Bowl player on the AFC side. On the NFC side, he was a little more accurate. He had Tampa going all the way to play the Ravens and then Tampa winning. But he said Tampa was going to play New Orleans in this championship round, which actually happened last week, which wasn't the championship round. So I adjusted this a little bit to make how that could have happened. So if Seattle would have won, then Tampa would have played Green Bay. Tampa would have had to beat Green Bay to be here. We know they didn't play each other. And Seattle was already out. So then I kind of just fudged this LA New Orleans just as what would have happened, not knowing where we are now and realism, but to get the games he wanted to have line up the way he did. And as you can see, New Orleans is out, who he said he was going to be there, and Green Bay is really in that place, and it's flip-flop. But this is the closest I could get to his bracket. So again, just like Joe, he's got 2 out of 4. So he's got Tampa and the Bills alive at this point. But he's only got one of the Super Bowl games alive. So I think it's interesting. We still didn't do too bad. And it's still a lot of fun just to see how we're ended up. Now, where are we now? For me, it's does Kansas City make it? Because that's my last hope. I got to get Kansas City to win two more games to get my bracket to be as good as it possibly could be from a pick perspective. Joe's in the same boat. That's as good as he can do. Evan, needs Tampa to win the next 2. And he'll get 1 out of the 2. And so kind of cool. We talked about if we can so let's say Evan got Tampa to show up and Kansas City made it. As a whole, the pricks would have picked both teams in the Super Bowl, though not one of us picked both. But we did say we'd get together. Could that happen? So let's see. Let's hope, and let's see if that comes true. Anyway, I think that's good enough for today. It's been a pleasure. This is our next to last show with the prick. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do a recap after the Super Bowl. We'll see. If Chiefs lose, I probably won't want to say much. But anyway, you'll get to hear from me at least one more time after this weekend to recap these last games and make a prediction for the Super Bowl. Obviously, if the Chiefs lose, I'll have to come up with a different team. And honestly, at the moment, I'd say it would be Green Bay if the Chiefs lose. Unless Green Bay loses, then I wouldn't be picking Green Bay, wouldn't I? I might have to pick the Bills at that point. But I think it's going to be the Chiefs versus Green Bay. And then if that holds true, we already know who I'm going to pick, which is the Chiefs. All right, everybody take care. Have a good night. And we'll see you next week.